Alright, let's start a new simple extension. We're just going to do some tabs. We're just setting up the Ruleset environment. Alright, and put the minimum stuff in here. Then we're going to set this for Core RPG. You can set this for 5e or anything else that you want. You could even do 5e and have it available for both. Next thing we're going to do is create a folder called Campaigns. Completely optional in terms of actually being required, but good for layout. We're now going to create a new window class, and the window class is going to be called XGen, and we'll make it 500 tall, 400 wide, and we'll give it a frame of utility box. Alright, now what we also want to do is we're going to create some tabs here. So we'll go down here, we'll grab some vertical tabs. We'll position these somewhere around here. We'll line that up so we can zoom in here actually, so we can get it right, and that looks pretty sweet. This edge went straight onto that one and back out again. It's possible the bottom there maybe 1 pixel. It's very, very close. I'm going to leave it where it is. Alright, so we're going to lock that into place here, and we're just going to use these controls to move it around. So 70 from the top. Now you can see it's 150 tall. It's got 2 tabs in here. We've got some excess padding at the top and the bottom for these last little bits where the tab joins the page. So we need roughly 70 pixels for each additional tab. I want 3 tabs, so I'm going to add 70 pixels to this, which makes it 220. Right, and what we're going to do now is create, well, let's give these a name. We're just going to call them tabs. We're going to create a sub-window. Put the sub-window here on the page. We're going to size it approximately where we need it to be. That looks pretty close. We're going to make the 350 wide from the top, from the left, make it 20. From the top, we'll make it 60. And we're going to horizontally anchor it from both. So this will stay always 20 pixels from the left, and always here roughly 35 pixels from the right, and as we resize this page it'll keep those. We're going to do the same for the vertical anchors. It means that this section can continue to grow. Now it's called sub-window 1. We can leave it at that. We don't have to give it any name if we don't want to. We're going to lock it in place. But next we're going to create 2 more. Okay, we're going to move them back so that they are on top of each other, all in the same spot, and we can lock them all. Now what we do need to do is make sure that fast init is true for all of them, but we want something special for the first one. Sub-window 1, we want to activate true also. Now we need some content to put in these. So what we're going to do for the content is create new window classes. So we're going to create a new window class, and we're going to call this one X main, and we're going to set the size of this to be the same size as these sub-windows are initially, so 415 and 350. Alright, so we now have the frame. We can do a few things. What we're going to do is probably just create a label. Grab the label and we'll stick it right in the top corner. We'll make the height 22 pixels. I'm going to make the font reference H. The text is going to be main. and that's fine where it is. We can lock it in place. We're now going to create a formatted text field. We'll push it all the way to the left. We'll make it 415 minus 22, so that's 393, I think, tall. And we'll make it 22 from the top. And the width, I think, was 350. Okay, and we're going to call this, so the label here will be called main label, and the formatted text is going to be called main text. Going to set the frame offset to a little bit bigger. Just the field dark frame has a little bit of extra padding around it, so that should be fine. So we've got this field. What we can do on our main tab, over here, we click on the tabs, we go to collection. I'm going to add our first one. So our first one is going to be, I think it's called tab main. And tab main will put the text main on it, and the sub window is going to be called x_main. That's not correct. The sub window name is going to be called sub window 1, exactly as it's spelled here. Now you can rename those, call them what you want. Alright, but in sub window 1, we are going to set the class to x_main. Alright, I think if we publish that, we'll have it should be functional at least to this page. So, although we need a few extra things, we need scripts and we need strings. Right, and we need to create a script here. We want to add a new script. Where has it gone? Oops. The new script will be called data library. And we want a string file. And it will just be called strings. That's okay. So let's work out what we've got to put in these. Alright, we're going to create a script file. And the script file will be data library. And I'm going to do function on init. And we need to add some extras in here. So xgen. Okay, that should be fine. And we also need a strings file. All right. Xgen. The name xgen just came from the request. It's not my name, so I'm not sure what its meaning is. But we need this string record here with library record type underscore label underscore, and then our data name, which is from here in our data library. Xgen, which matches our window class name, and then we data mapping those the same. I think that should be it. Let's publish this. Let's see what we get in Fantasy Grounds. Okay, we're just going to load up a core RPG one here somewhere, and we're going to find our xgen extension, xgen tabs. Okay, we're going to load this up. Alright, so down here we've got something called xgen. We open that up. We'll create a new record. Alright, so only the main tab is displayed because we've only filled out the details of the main tab, but we've got our title and our formatted text. What we need to do now is populate our next two tabs. So let's go back into the wizard. And we're going to do this easy. We're going to go and duplicate, create a copy of xmain. We're going to change the window class here from xmain to xstats. I'm going to change this to stats. We're going to put some other fields in here. Let's delete this one. Let's create a string field and a number field. And they look okay where they are there. Duplicate this. Okay, so we've got a couple of copies of that. We'll lock them in place. We'll quickly rename them all. Default text, strength. We'll give this a label, strength. Maybe we should have done these as labels, it doesn't really matter. And the third one, mind. Alright, now we want to call these mind, agility, and strength. And we're going to just set them up as rollable, and they're just going to be roll type. The dice roll string will be something like self D6. Alright. And we can also, that's fine, that's enough for now. So this is stats. Our class is called xstats. If we go back to an unpacked copy of Core RPG, and we'll go to graphics and tabs, we can see we've got some other ones here. So we might call this what we might use tab abilities, and then for the last one we will use tab other. So we're going to use tab abilities and tab other. So we'll go back to our main sheet here. We'll go back to our tabs. We'll go to our collection, and we'll add another one. This will be tab abilities. That's the icon name. The sub-window name is going to be this sub-window here, sub-window 2. And we're going to add one more. And this one's going to be called tab other and sub-window 3. Alright, what we want to do in sub-window 2 is we want to set the class name to x_stats. And let's create one more tab here. So we've got xstats. We want to copy xmain again. Create copy. And this one's going to be called x other. Other. I'm going to get rid of all these fields here, delete that. I think we need to make this called other label as well. It's not critical, as long as it's unique for this window class. And we're going to add a window list. It should be 349 is fine, 350 is okay. We're going to accept drop classes. This will just be called note. And the class name will be called note brief, which we'll need to create. And fill down is true. Column width is it's going to be about 330. We're going to put a frame on here, which will be called field dark. Offset will be 10. We're going to set it to be anchored both on the horizontal and on the vertical. And we're going to set it to can grow. And we're going to set the minimum height to 150 and the maximum height, it's not a required field, sorry I've done that wrong field, minimum height 150 and the maximum height, we'll call it 350 for now. And let's create, let's give it a name. This is going to be called other list. It needs a data source. Data source will be called full stop other list. And we need to create note brief as well. It's one more window class. This one we're going to make the height just 25. The width will be 230. And it's note brief. I hope it was note. Let's put a link field. And this link field is going to have allow drop true. Description field is name. Self on empty is true. Window class name is note. Lock that in place. And we're going to get a string field. And its name will be name. It's quite possible that should be not a string field but a label. Let's do that again. Width 300, X position will be 30, 25 is good, and 5 from the top, height 20, that's cool, label, that's name. Alright, I think if we publish this now, we might have enough. Let's reload the page. Alright, XGen. We don't have all the fields on here, so we can't, as in we can't name them and stuff like this, but we've got 3 tabs: main, abilities and other. Abilities has got these. If we give ourselves 3 for, okay, I've got some typo here. Possibly we've got, I might have overwritten, I might have had 2 fields selected when I did it. But anyway, we've got strength, we can roll this, should roll 3d6. This one will roll 1d6. So I'm going to roll 2d6, so that works. And our other tab here, alright, we forgot to set some content here for this frame. Let's quickly go and do that. Like how when I make a mistake I say we forgot to, but anyway. Back here, sub-window 3, we need to give it a class name, and the class name is xOther. Let's double check what we've got here in the tabs, because this is the bit that the requester was missing. So we've got 3 entries here, one for each of our tabs. Our tabs are approximately 70 pixels tall, and plus a total of 10 pixels in padding. So we've got tab main. Tab main is the icon that appears here with the text main on it. Subwindow 1 is this subwindow record. Then we've got the same for tab abilities. We've got an icon that's already in the system, which is going to write abilities here. Subwindow 2 is this entry here, which also appears here. And tab other has an icon other that will appear here. Subwindow 3 is this record, and subwindow 3 is this record here. If we publish that, and we'll also just check subwindow 3, xOther is the class name, subwindow 2 is xstats, subwindow 1 is xmain, and I think, remember, I had an error here. Oh yeah. Now that, I just fix that one up. Alright, we can also do something like dice roll description. I'll just call this one strength. Right, and we could do the same for the others. Tables reloading. Okay, xgen. Alright, other tab. Alright, this is a window list, and we should be able to drag and drop some notes onto here. Alright, this is not quite working just yet. I'll fix that, but if we click on these, it should open the appropriate records up. And we can see abilities. If I double click on strength, it should say GM strength roll, total of 10 on my 3d6. And we can write here about xgen is awesome, so are tabs. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. I hope that answers your questions.